The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTRTV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. Lucas Oil Raceway, Claremont, Indiana. 0.686 miles, a progressively banked flat oval that is near and dear to many hearts. It used to hold the Busch Series and the Craftsman Truck Series on Friday and Saturday as the big boys headed to the big rectangle in Speedway, Indiana, but it has since found new life with a Camping World Truck Series date as well as a ARCA race. What did I say? Camping World? I meant Craftsman. Can't get my sponsors right, so that's time to cut the speech and get back to the action. Welcome everyone to PTRTV for tonight's coverage of the Spartan SimRacing League with race number 15 of 24 in their season 2 campaign. Of course, going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, along with Andre Grunbush here to help me with the calls here on what has been shortened from a distance of 250 laps down to 200. Congratulations to me for making sure that that was the case. But Andre, a fun track. A lot of guys love this track, but even though people love it, it is still a very, very difficult place to navigate.
Well, it's unique. You know, I feel like there's a lot of tracks we go to that are relatively interchangeable with how you drive them. Most mile-and-a-half tracks with trials are going to drive somewhat similar with just a few changes and nuance, but really there's no other track like IRP. it's such a wide track. The corners are very long and sweeping. I think you spend more time in the corners than you do on the straightaways here. And the way you drive the corners is unique. You can't really use the bottom, at least not the entire race, because it is so flat. You got to run towards the middle, or maybe even up high, and you have to kind of change your lane. I mean, you're diamonding the corner generally through this track, and there's just nothing like it. So these drivers, they come here, and maybe they're going to get good at it. Maybe they put down a lot of practice, but I don't think anybody just shows up to IRP with no laps under the belt and does well.
Yeah, exactly that. Definitely a track to take some practice, take some finesse, take some kind of some guts to put it right there on the fence, although hitting it at about 85 miles an hour shouldn't be too detrimental. But a track that in the next-gen car, certainly one that does not have a setup there in the folder, Andre. So these guys had to, they have all their team affiliations, their setup shop affiliations and whatnot. You're not just going to go click and drag one in the file here. Definitely had to go and make one a custom for this play. So that being said, we'll see who nailed it and who's the cream of the crop here tonight.
When it goes back to how unique this track is, if this had been, let's say, Milwaukee Mile, right? You could take a setup from maybe New Hampshire and tweak a few things, just change the suspension, change a little bit of camber, but, build off of that. Here, I don't know what setup you'd build off of. You're really just kind of working from scratch because the Cup cars don't come here and they don't come to any track like this that is particularly similar. So yeah, a lot of work for the boys in the garage, and we're going to see who nailed it, because it will be, immediately noticeable who's got the good setups and who doesn't.
Yeah, maybe they can a little bit of New Hampshire, a little bit of Martinsville, a little bit of Richmond, maybe a little bit of Phoenix, just kind of make a little a soup or a stew of all those tracks, and maybe have something to play with here. Of course, last week's race at Atlanta, a thriller. Remember, Ed Scherer called his shot and ended up getting that victory there in thrilling fashion. And I'll tell you, Andre, before we get to the grid here, it was a lot of pre-race talks. We were scared. North Wilkesboro, a popular track, only had about 12, 13 cars, and to be honest, we were nervous tonight about how much we were going to get here today. We have, I think, the biggest field we have had all season here at IRP, so I just want to give a shout out to that fact.
Yeah, I don't know what Dave did, but he's apparently had boots on the ground doing some recruiting, and he's got the numbers up. So good job to Dave for getting a field out here. And a lot of leagues, I feel like the numbers start to drop, and the league owners, the admins, just kind of lose interest. But Dave's got his hands dirty. He's trying to take care of everything, and props to him. But we do have the starting grid, and it looks like it is going to be Philip Henry on the pole, right next to RJ Root. You might notice him from the Saturday broadcast. Kendall Levron is going to be in third. He's next to Timothy Latham in that number 5 with promo code Temptation. I'm sure we'll see that on the bumper cam a few times. Justin Levine is going to be 5th place right alongside Tanner Marty. P7 is going to go to Scott Wise in that 33, and last week's winner rolls off 8th tonight.
I just want to call Mascatua. Is that what it is? Interesting time man there. Sorry to...
Mascouta, maybe?
Yeah.
Johan Seminario going to be P9, and running up the top 10, Jake Hickson.
Yeah, sorry, get easily distracted there. Josh Campbell in 11th, Adam Glatfelter in 12th. We got Kevin Zosiak in 13th, another one you'll see on the Friday broadcast. Corey Saucier, one of his best runs at Atlanta last week. Jordan Sailors in 15th, Taya Polito in 16th, Seba Corns, I believe, in 17th, Ed Kane 18th, Dakota Jorgensen and Julian Berg. Gotta love that face shot there in 20th. And just to round out the last two pages, Trevor Edwards, David E. Duke, another fabulous run last week at Atlanta. He was the crazy man of the race, we deemed him. Fuge and Eaton rounding out the field here today. We'll have a very abbreviated pre-race show because pace laps here are so short. Stage at lap 80 tonight. 3 sets of tires in the pits, Andre, so that's even less than usual. So with the 50% fuel, I think tires are going to be very, very paramount here today. And then just quickly, our weather conditions. 74 in the air, 77 track, 822. The lights will turn on here, of course, with summer sunset a little bit late.
Yeah, I think those tire limits are going to come into play later in the race for sure. 3 sets is pretty stringent. Pace car pulls down to the access road. He's got a ways to go before he gets to pit road, but the drivers are going to stay up on that slightly more banked outside, try to minimize the wheel spin here. And the green flag is going to drop. We're underway for 200 laps here at IRP. And the inside lane gets a pretty good jump, but that's not to say It is uncontested. Look at this 69 machine on the outside getting a good run. Again, mid-race, that outside mid-lane is going to be preferred. He may take the lead as we have a scuffle in the back.
Yeah, RJ Root was in the fence there. There were 2 penalties, and we'll have to look at that later, because what is this nonsense? 3-4 wide for a brief moment here. Back of the pack, everyone's trying to figure out where to go. You can see the 88 of Sailors all the way down there on the flat. Kevin Zosiak in the middle, kind of Daytona-esque racing there down the back straightaway here at IRP as everyone's fighting to get into that ideal lane. Kevin Zosiak with a slide.
Oh, the 04 behind him, the 78, David Duke.
7 corns, David Duke. We are, for the time being, green flag still.
He's stuck. I don't know how you get stuck in the grass.
Did he blow a tire? Did he blow his rear tire as a kid to real life?
I don't think I've ever seen that on iRacing. Somebody just getting stuck in the grass. He's still down there.
And we're still green. So I'm going to quote my longtime colleague on the channel, Brandon Kreutz. He had a saying, that was a thing. And it still is a thing because...
He's still there. Is he gone?
He's
finally.
Yeah.
Well, I applaud the effort. He was trying his darndest to get out of that issue there, but I gotta wonder if there's maybe not a slight crest there in the grass, and that's what he got stuck on, just kind of bottomed out, because I didn't think the car actually sunk in. I didn't think there was like dirt physics on iRacing, so it must be a little bit of a hill there. In the meantime, Henry, the pole sitter, maintains the lead. It looked like Root was going to take it. Before all that craziness, it really looked like Root was going to get it. Then he scraped that outside wall, conceded the position, and now he hasn't quite got back up within lunging distance, but he's not letting the leader get too far away. Timothy Latham, he started, I believe, 4th, and he's moved up a position. So, I was right, he did start 4th, so he's moved up 1. And at number 5, looking a little bit different. He's got a purple scheme this time, used to it being red. And Levine, always fast, always in contention. He's sitting there in 4th. Let's go on board. Can't quite see the promo code, but what we can see is the line these guys are running, and they are up there. They're entering the corner up high, and then just on exit, they're driving down the banking, trying to get a good run down the straightaway. And it is a little bit difficult to see for them, I'm sure, in 3 and 4. Look at that sun glare.
Yeah, no, I will say for drivers who have HDR monitors and or virtual reality, it's not just slightly annoying, it's actually almost debilitating there. So they'll wait probably till maybe a half hour into this race, and they'll get themselves some visuals there. 33 of Scott Wise, a little bit of contact there with Josh Campbell there, but that may be the way to make a pass. Have to upset the guy on the outside to slow him down enough to make a pass, as the 33 will drop in line behind Tanner Marty, who's wiggling wobbling there off the corner. Jordan Sailor's trying to work to the inside. Looks like Campbell might be struggling with the handling here earlier in tonight's efforts. Look at the 88 all the way down there to the first lane, trying to get that straight shot off the corner and doing whatever he can to get that drive off.
And that's really one of the most crucial things with the overtake. I think at IRP, you're going to see more passes completed on exit than you will on entry. So if you can get a good exit, yeah, you're looking good. But the 88 stuck on that lower line. He's doing a good job defending, but maybe not the ideal place. You can see everybody else, if they're just by themselves, the preferred lane is entering up high to get that good run out. And the 88, he's got to pinch that car. Right there, you saw him go all the way down to the flat. He does take the position. And the 8, I'll tell you what, the 8 played nice there. If the 8 had not lifted, that could have been a situation.
Now, let's just see here telemetry-wise here. Very interested to see. This is a track that we don't have experience with calling, at least in this exact configuration. So looks like a 3rd gear only track, so we'll have to kind of scour ourselves through the field here and see if anybody does choose to maybe run the 4th gear at times. Let's go check out Justin Levine here. Oh, there you go. 4th gear. So these guys, again, with their open setups, custom setups, all working with their teams and personalizing what's under the hood. Those gear ratios and strategies different, as the one will scrape some of that paint off and put it on the safer barrier.
Yeah, just calibrating the wall, which I believe is actually a concrete wall on the straightaways, safer barrier in the corners. But it's interesting to me that we've got drivers running 3rd, running 4th, because I would not be so. Levine in the wall again, buddy. Take it down half a lane. I think fuel is going to be a concern in this race. With the half fuel capacity that the league runs, going a long distance of 200 laps, that's going to open up the door to some strategy. And if you're down in third gear, you're running high revs, you're burning up that fuel faster than somebody in
Dave,
fourth.
What did you do already?
Oh, no,
Come on,
Dave.
All right.
The whole front end, that's not just one side. That's both sides of the front end.
He's not going to want us to see this, Andre. He's not. But we're going to see it anyways.
So it looks like he's trying to get down to pit road, and in the front end just, oh no!
I told you he didn't want us to see that.
Oh no, Dave. Well, those sand barrels were not forgiving.
So there must have been something that had caused him. Actually, let me see if I can go scroll up the good old Discord here, because I did get some affirmation as to who the penalties were on the evening. It was Dave and Kendall Levron who had drive-through penalties. Devin Medeiros and Heath Snyder were on suspension for some infractions that I was not given detail on. But Fuge was going to, already insulting himself with a penalty, and then just obliterated himself in the process.
Yeah, that it was really weird what the car did, because I mean, I'm sure you saw what I saw. He was like porpoising to go over to an F1 turn. That front end was just bouncing up and down. He had zero control over the front end of that car. It was like Chase Sexton's Honda bike for a motocross reference. We're going all across the land of motorsports, but any way you cut it, that car was not doing right by Fuge.
Well, remember, this track is a one of the configurations of the iRacing Rallycross that about 6 people use. So maybe all the dirt that has been run on that, because that is actually one of the turns. You run that in reverse, that pit access, so maybe all the dirt has caused some waves there over the time being. But it was definitely a very bumpy experience here. As again, Tanner Marty on screen. Everybody has spread out quite significantly, and I'm not going to say that I'm quite surprised by that. Just going to what we talked about all race, Andre, the fact that this is not a normal configuration. This is not a well-practiced configuration, so the drivers will have a bigger skill gap here, or a bigger setup efficiency gap, which, it's going to be different to what we've seen all season, really.
Yeah, for sure. I said at the top of the broadcast it was going to be immediately apparent who had the good setup and who doesn't, and it looks to me like Henry's got a really good setup. He's a second out from RJ Root. Timothy Latham himself a second back from Root, and then you got another second to Levine. So we're looking at pretty much a second separation between most cars in the field. And of course they may start to scrunch back up and find each other as the tires wear, depending on who saves, who doesn't. But this gap right here, half a second between Levine and Scherer. Scherer, last week's winner. He's been on fire pretty much ever since he joined the league. I don't think he's had a bad race. He might have had, I think he had a bad result because of a wreck one time, but he was still running up front that race, if I recall. So he's been fast every week. Not a surprise to see him in the top 5, but what I am curious to see is if he can make the pass, because I don't know. Like I said, I think the overtake on corner exit's going to be the way to go, but I don't really know. It's kind of a wild card track for most people, and then how they go about it, it's going to be up to them. Yeah, so if any of our viewers here are cross-compatible with some other leagues that, Andre and I cover with the 100% Cup Series, or even the D1, D2 series that is right here on PTRTV, we kind of deemed a new move, the John Delaney Yeet, which he used at Loudon. Basically, you drive all the way to the flat, which is not a usable lane, do a absolute mega crossover, and then somehow manage to still keep the power down on corner exit. I think that's going to be a pass of sorts here at IRP. Driving all the way down, finding a way to clear, and then trying to keep the momentum. But you can see right here in this little gaggle of cars, which was really 8th back through, I'd say, 13th or so, they're so tightly congested that there's no room to complete a slide job. You can see here that, who is that? That is Jake Hickson. He's right behind Corey Saucier there. If he was to do a dive bomb, he wouldn't have any space to clear, which effectively nullifies the move. Yeah, it will nullify it right away. If that happens, we got a little bit of contact. The number 8 getting a little bit close to the quarter panel of Sailors. So those two duking it out for position. Now, funnily enough, it seems like Sailors was actually more comfortable on the bottom. When we seen him down there earlier, he was able to defend the position. But right now, that number 8 machine of Campbell, slide job on him. He's gonna, and now it's gonna be a crossover. Sailors to the bottom. I mean, every point is going to count, of course, but for ninth place, these guys are driving it like it's for the win. And behind him, you just got Ippolito trying to figure out, well, if these guys are doing this, what do I do? I mean, how do I get through here?
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, this isn't a track where you just say, all right, let me go 3 wide and get right by. You just kind of pick the lane that you think is going to be advantageous, which is normally the top. Oh, goodness gracious. The 8 hits the 88 there, or the inverse, but they didn't slow down, and they're still in the same battle after that door slam. And look at behind them there. They're stacking up the entire back end of the field.
Yeah, big stack ups. I said that, maybe the field will find each other once the tires start to degrade a little bit, and I think that's holding true because what was a massive separation all throughout the field is now kind of formed up into a cluster of cars. Dakota Jorgensen, he's been pretty good on that low line. He's going to pull up alongside Ippolito. Maybe try and get a little bit of a side draft if he can, but off pace. All of a sudden, that 88 fired out of a cannon. He's going to get clear. And, well, I say clear, but I mean about as clear as you can be when you're in this group of cars. Ooh, I think he might have got the wall there.
Just about, and then now that will allow the 9 to clear. 88, well, he didn't. He certainly got into the wall that time by not missing anything of note up front. Latham did get around Levine, or I think he may have already been there or something, but RJ Root did drop back to 5th. So let's go jump up here just for a brief moment. You can see RJ Root, who did qualify outside of the front row, if memory serves. Yep, he is down 3, so just dropping it back in. Nothing else of note. I am keeping an eye on the telemetries. If anything happens up there, we will switch back, but this is the best racing on the circuit right now. Camp will try to hang on. It looks like that 19 of Ippolito, he was fast last week at Atlanta, which, I mean, you don't want to give it too much credit because it is kind of a wild card race, be it a super speedway, but it was a super speedway that was very well handling oriented. You saw guys getting loose by themselves. We saw passes, people making passes by themselves. So even though it is a super speedway, you can still take pride in a good run there because you did have to drive the car. Oh yeah,
I mean it's not entirely like Daytona or Talladega. The handling does matter. And it's such a tighter track too. It's a lot more difficult to be up in the crowd and to be in the fray. And for those drivers that were up front, sure, maybe it's not a pure handling track, but it is more so. Almost, what it reminds me of, Corey? It almost takes me back to the days of unrestricted plate races where, these guys in the 80s and everything, they went to Daytona and it wasn't wide open. They lifted at Daytona. They had to. The car would not permit them to hold it flat foot the entire time. And that's kind of what Atlanta's like today. It's very much a group race, we'll say, a drafting race, but not to the extent that Daytona and Dega would be today.
Yeah, and of course you can experience that as some more wall slapping there. You can experience that non-restricted content if you run the 87 car at a Daytona or Talladega. Run that at Daytona 07. And tell me that Daytona is easy, basically, because you will find out the hard way. I did see a battle going on there at the back of the shot. What was that? Seba Corns, or Cornace, if anybody knows the specifics of that, please let me know. Who's that down to the inside? I'm trying to make out. Oh, Julian Bird. He is already 1 lap down there in the 30, kind of struggling there on the inside lane. RJ Root coming to the pits now. Is this scheduled? I mean, I don't know. They wouldn't be able to make 80 laps. There's no way you can run 160 laps. So this may be planned. I would assume maybe 70 would be a fuel run, but if you know you can't do that, may as well take advantage of the tires, right?
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't want to take too much advantage on the tires.
Only.
He's going to be fuel only.
Remember, 3 sets. So let's say they can go, there has to be at least 1 pit stop in this race that is going to go fuel only. So maybe RJ Root, the shorthand as we know him on Saturdays and Fridays, or more so Saturdays, he wants that set for later, not going to use it now. Probably a smart decision, I would say.
Yeah, like I said, that 3 tire limit is interesting, and that's one of the things about the rules this league runs with the reduced fuel capacity and generally pretty strict tire limit. It makes these guys think. It's not a situation where every time a caution comes out, you just come down pit road and take 4 tires and fuel by default because you can. It's something you actually have to think about. Like, well, is it worth it to take these tires? Is it going to be an advantage? And oftentimes early on in the race, it's not going to be. You want to save those for later. More cars coming down pit road. So I think a few of these guys are definitely going to try to split this in half. But if they're not taking tires, I don't think it necessarily matters if they pit now or if they pit on lap 70, if they can make it that far.
No, that's something I want to give credit to that topic, and he's probably listening. I do want to give credit to Dave Fuge, because I did give him crap at one point about the 50% fuel, because I'm like, it doesn't really create strategy, it just makes you pit more, but it's not really strategy. So what he did, which he probably didn't take by advice, I think it just happened this way, by tightening up the tire sets, it does make that strategy, because as you said, it makes you think, and we've seen many a time. We saw it at Nashville where Scherer and Seminario had the race won. They had the strategy, but they misthought. They did not think properly and threw the race away. I mean, that's what you like. You like having fast cars and, you know, good racing, but having the drivers think is very, very interesting as well. As halfway through the opening stage, which will be on lap number 80. It has just been RJ Root. Dakota Jorgensen is in, but he has been in for a significant amount of time, so not sure what is going on there in the 9 camp.
You know, it looks like he had some damage. I don't know if he's just trying to get some optionals fixed. I feel like if he was retiring from the race, he would be behind the wall, so not 100% certain. We'll have to keep tabs on him. Either way, this is a pretty short track. You sit on pit road that long, you are going to be losing lap after lap, and that is not ideal. Here's a battle. Look at this. Off the back of Levine, Scherer is going to try to make a lunge. He gets to the rear bumper, and then he tries to dive it down low. And, you know, maybe you can kind of tell me if I'm right or wrong on this, Corey, because I don't really have much experience actually driving this next-gen car. But, you know, I remember back in the days of Gen 6 and even the car tomorrow, if you entered the corner, well, I guess Gen 4 as well, if you entered the corner right on somebody's bumper, you took the air off that spoiler, it made their car handle worse. But in this next-gen car, it seems like I watch people enter the corner bumper to bumper all the time, and neither one of them gets loose. So is the aero maybe a little bit less of a factor in that sense with this car?
Yeah, I don't have the driving experience, but I do think I know from a technical perspective that this car, as we've seen, and I've been told, it has a lot less side force, which is why you see guys just self-spinning so much more as a little teammate battle here for fourth. So with the lack of side force, getting on someone's quarter panel like that, oh, someone's in the wall back there, I think that was Tanner Marty. Because of the lack of side force, there's not going to be that effective taking the air off the spoiler, because you don't have a ton of grip and you're turning it to no grip. You have like a little bit of grip and then you're turning it to a little bit less, so it's a lot less noticeable of a change.
Yeah, and I remember when they first designed this car, one of the big things that they were trying to do was they were trying to generate ground force. So in IndyCar, yeah, they got big wings and they got the front wings and everything, but a lot of what makes them stick to the track is actually the way that the chassis interacts with the wind and kind of glues it down from underneath. And they kind of, big issue. That's Levine, isn't it?
I think it is.
No, Levine is okay. It's the 04.
That is Seba Corns and Kevin Zosiak there in turn number 1. It looks like someone cleared themselves without being clear. That's what I'm going to look at just by the way the cars were configured here. Let us deduce what has happened here.
So Corns gets a good run through the corner, drifts up ever so slightly. They were, ooh, my goodness.
Yeah, they just doored each other on the straightaway there. Corns kind of washed up, and because he was farther enough ahead, because he was far enough ahead, instead of just dooring each other, it ended up turning him, and I think both of them...
I'm not sure Zosiak lifted right away. It seemed like he was kind of pushing him down into the corner.
Yeah, well, we have technology.
We have the technology. Let's go on board and see. Let's take a look at those revs. Listen to the engine.
Yeah, it
was lifting a little bit.
Yeah, he didn't stab the brakes by any stretch of the imagine.
No.
Yeah. All right, well, this is interesting. Who is going to put some Goodyears on and who is just going to fuel only for the next 30 laps? We already have some answers to that. Let's find the rest of them.
Okay, so the right side going up on what I believe is the number 6, or no, the number 8.
Yeah,
left and right.
New paints and new drivers, so it's definitely a little bit of a workout for us trying to figure some of these things out. But there's a lot more tires going on than I would have thought. But
a lot of drivers took 4. That's kind of surprising to me.
now, first off, right now being scored as the race leader is Levine, and you can just dictate there by the time. And this is where the guessing game comes in from a commentary perspective. I don't know if that's fuel. I think because that was under 7 seconds, it's probably fuel only. We weren't looking at him to know definitively. We have Scherer at 7. I would think that's 2. I would think that's 2. But again, this is where and I had this discussion, well, we both had this discussion, not just me, with admin, because he was curious why we kind of didn't know. There's no back-end telemetry that says took 2 tires. Took left sides, took right sides, took 4, took fuel only. All we know is, well, the pit stop took that long, so this probably happened. So that's just kind of what we have to call here.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm going to take this moment to brag on iRacing a little bit here. The reason they don't give us that data is because they think that it would be unfair to know exactly what everybody's doing strategy-wise. But realistically, let's say I'm running second place and I got a spotter that's up in the booth for me, and I tell that spotter, hey, watch the leader when he comes down into the pits. Tell me what he does. If the person is watching, right, if they got the camera on him, they can see, well, the left sides went up, the right sides went up. He just took 4 tires. It's not hard if you're actually watching an individual car to deduce what they did. So if you're really that interested as a driver, you can have somebody do that for you. So why we can't do that as, commentators and producers, why iRacing will give us that data so we can have that information for a full field and not have to have 3 or 4 people watching pit road, I don't know. iRacing's a little bit weird with that. But the pace car is down pit road, and it is going to be Levine on what I assume is 4 old tires, trying to hold up a whole lot of drivers on fresh Goodyears. See how he can use that older...
Yeah, top 3 on older tires.
Oh, contact, Seminario and Edward.
Yeah, just made that little bit of contact there. And who's down to the flat there? That's Philip Henry.
Oh, he's loose.
And so far, so good.
No, Zodiac, that poor guy. He's been in everything tonight, man.
Is he the Wayne Grassy of the series who finds his way into absolutely everything? But
he's got a magnet in that car, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, on the bottom, that's the transition, flat transition, cold tires, loops it around in the front of the field. Somehow, we're good. Now we got to go on board here because I feel like there's Stewie syndrome here. Uh-oh, where do I go? And whatever decision he makes is going to be wrong. This is onboard Zodiac.
Yeah, it's happening
into
in front
the sun,
of him.
mind you.
Yeah, it's into the sun. There's a huge cluster of cars and a smoke screen. You know what I think it was, Corey? I think it was that little bit of a roll. He let off the brakes. The 25 let off the brakes for just a split second. And I think it rolled him up just enough that he didn't have a chance of avoiding him, which was unfortunate. But again, the 25 couldn't have known what was going on either. That was just a bad situation.
All right, so what we'll do now, first interview of the race, because there's a lot going on and I kind of want to know a little bit about it. All right, Justin, Corey, and Andre, got us, bud?
Yes, I do.
All right, biggest field of the season at a track that most people don't have experience at. I see a big skill gap and very few tires on the wall, man. What's the confidence level here tonight?
Oh boy, it's all over the place. One lap I feel great, next lap I'm sliding into the wall, but definitely just got to take care of my stuff here and try to stay up front.
Do you feel comfortable with the setup? What's the limiting factor here? Let me ask you this way. Is it the driver or is it the setup, do you think, so far, based on what the first 50-some-odd laps?
It's a little of both. If you can manage the tires and be able to be super smooth on the throttle, you're going to have no problem at all. But every time you want to race somebody, you got to gas it up earlier, try and chase that guy down. You drive it in a little bit harder and you break it. You're over the limit and you got to hold on.
I got to hold on, indeed. You got to hold on to that points lead, too, because you got that, and Timothy Latham not too far back, man. We'll let you get back at it. Good luck.
Thank you.
I just had to make sure I put him back on the right team, because that would have been awkward. But yeah, this is an extended caution. Want to make sure I wasn't accidentally still in replay mode there. An extended caution, but very good points there. Like he said, he's comfortable in the setup, but the driver getting all that 670 horsepower down, having to, put a lot of wheel into it, having to keep it off the wall. There's just a lot of challenges here, and I think probably a good driver probably could do pretty well here just with the iRacing stock setup. But an average driver probably wouldn't do well with a Pro Series setup here. A very difficult track. What are they doing up there?
Yeah, they're just toying with the pace car a little bit, but
and each other.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough track, and we saw that with that self spin there. He got down onto the flat, the car got unsettled, and then from there, what do you do? Because even if you start to correct that slide, the car is going to slide back up the track right through that banking transition, and then it's going to spin even more. So, if the car starts to get unsettled, the chances of a recovery at this track are fairly minimal. So you have to be a really good driver to avoid even getting loose at all. You got to make sure you keep the car under control, and that's easier said than done. That's why I'm in the booth and not actually driving one of these cars, because I can't keep it under control. Levine is going to be leading the field of the green again on these older tires, and he does have that buffer of a few cars that are also on slightly older tires, which is probably going to be a bit of a saving grace as the green flag flies. He gets cleared to the lead. It was almost a battle for second, but Scherer goes ahead and lifts to take solo third place. We're still 2 and even 3 wide all throughout the field. 14 under fire. Here comes Timothy Latham. Fresher tires. I think I saw all 4 go up on that number 5 machine. So let's see what he can do with them. Riding that high line. Gets a good run. Takes third place. Now there's 2 more cars to go. Seminario on the defense. That was some mirror driving right there. He saw the 5 coming low. He ducked down, but he couldn't block the move regardless. 5 had the grip. Despite that, did not have the momentum, so he's going to have to settle back into third.
Trying to find the lane is out there on the outside. Latham's going to put the power down there. Again, using those 4 fresh tires, but such tight quarters racing on quarters exit. Seminario manages to keep the car down and gives Latham the required space, and he'll use that extra little bit of banking and power around, but the yellow flag.
Yellow flag.
Philip Henry, wasn't he the pole sitter and led some laps earlier on? And
yeah, and he was the one that just spun. He was so loose again. That was a strange one. That was almost middle of the straightaway.
Now that's what I call an algorithmic yellow, because I would have thought being down there on those ads down there that it wouldn't have triggered a caution, but if it needed to be a 45-degree angle, it was 45.1 degrees that triggered that caution. But and
the cars were just close enough, I'm sure. But yeah, the 25 pole sitter led some laps, and now 2 self spins in a row. That's not ideal. I don't know what's going on with the handling of that car. I almost wonder if the track temp cooling down, the sun's starting to drop, isn't affecting his handling. It's the same as it was when we started, isn't it? It was 77 to begin with.
I believe so. We've elapsed, oh Lord, I don't even know how much time we've elapsed. What is it, like a half hour or so maybe?
In about half an hour roughly.
And the lights,
so I don't know.
The lights not on yet. They will turn on in, I'd imagine, probably 15-20 minutes or so. We'll be under the lights. Well, the lights will probably turn on quickly. Then the whole iRacing, the lights are on, but not to roast on the graphics model. That'll happen soon. And the bump drafting going on here is just, and they're blocking Josh Campbell from getting his lucky dog there.
Yeah, they do not want him to get around, but there they go.
Look at that
It's actually got some front end damage.
Yeah. You know what he's doing? He's testing that new proprietary reverse splitter model there.
yeah, he's got that up force package.
Yeah, of course, as they're supposed to be testing it at some point this week at Loudon. Oh yeah, he is very well concaved there. So clearly something has come into the front bumper of that vehicle at some point. But yeah, they are testing out at Loudon the new package where running as the leader, you will be at an aerodynamic disadvantage, and running in behind, you will be at an advantage. I don't know how that happens in natural physics, without having some kind of actuator that's like, dynamically changing. I have no idea how that's even physically possible, but I also don't have an aerodynamics degree, so.
I feel like it'd be possible to make it so like when you're in traffic, the air gets like directed to it and it adds to the downforce. But I don't know. I don't have an aerodynamics degree either. But I will say the whole thing is just, my biggest pet peeve is it's somebody trying to fix a problem that they themselves introduced. Clean air would not be a problem if they hadn't changed the cars from being high horsepower and low downforce, it would not matter if you were the leader, second place, third place. The car would be difficult to drive for everybody, almost equally so. But they gave us more downforce and ground force.
Give us a front valence back. That was never broken.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just...
And Denny Hamlin actually had a pretty good point. So if you are the trailing car, and by trailing you create more downforce, what would make you want to go and run a different lane and have multi-groove racing when running behind someone is actually advantageous?
That's exactly it. I mean, the second you pull out, it's like there's going to be a parachute that gets deployed, and we see that enough at,
like
at plate tracks.
Pulling out a line on the plate track, yeah.
Yeah, we see it enough at plate tracks, but now it's going to happen at intermediates if they go through with this, which generally if NASCAR is this determined to do something, they will do it regardless of fan feedback, sort of like when everybody said don't move the numbers, and then they did anyways, and they were like, oh no, don't worry, we're not going to move the numbers, we're just doing it for fun.
And one thing they tested that has not been executed is the underglow. It's the only thing that was a one-time only thing, otherwise it happens. Speaking of things that happen, a restart of sorts. Timothy Latham in second on those fresher tires. You know, he's going to try and make quick work there of Justin Levine here. Levine gets into that Geico restart zone on the accelerator pedal. 13 laps to go in the stage. He got a jump, though, on the bottom. Seminario is going to try to fill in the gap for second, but again, those aging tires and being on the bottom going to be a detriment. Latham going to try to squeeze the top. Can't squeeze the top. You're going to have to pull right down there, and he's going to do a... Oh, right. No, I thought he was going to go for the dive bomb, but he played nice.
Well, I think he was going to, but then Seminario being right on his bumper, I think, kind of scared him out of making that move.
Oh, Jesus, Hickson.
Oh, boy. Oh, up in the air.
Yeah, what does keep this camera? That was a...
The 75 machine of Eaton.
Charles, yeah. So, that was a thing. Let's go back and try to sort out what has occurred here. Jordan Saylor's in the 88. He's outside with Scott Wise there. Hickson on the bottom in the 16.
I don't even see.
Oh, 88 got loose into the 16.
Comes Eaton. Oh.
75. There's Corey Saucier. Oh, the 30 just whiskered himself by there. That's Julian Bird.
Good wreck avoidance there, but heavy damage for the 75, I'm sure, taking a few good hits there. And this is going to put us at a restart really close to the end of the stage, so... Yeah, I mean, the car doesn't... I mean, the
he has
front
that
is
same...
a little concave.
He's twins with... who was that? Campbell has that concave front bumper there. But...
Yeah, rear end damage, too. He got shoved from the back there. You can see the spoilers kind of raised up in the air, which actually, you know, for this track, if the spoiler gets bent up in the air a little bit more, that may not be a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. There's some instances in real life where damage actually turns into a positive thing. Like, what was it back in it must have been the late 2000s. I think it was right in the beginning of the COT era. Someone's right, like, I don't even know what it's called, but the area right in front of the right rear tire, they would pull it out to get more downforce, more side force. Yep. It happened incidentally, and then once it happened incidentally, everybody would just come in the pits and then just pull on the fender and get it flared out there.
Yep, and actually even into Gen 6, they would try to achieve that same effect by just putting duct tape on the car and saying they were repairing damage, but the duct tape would be kind of an open flap at the front, so when they got up to speed, it would catch the air and give them a little bit of rotation through the corner. And actually it was Chase Elliott that got caught doing that first, but when everyone was ragging on Chase for doing that, they started looking at more pictures and, you know, kind of focusing on the cars more, and they realized, oh man, everybody's doing this, and then they cracked down. And then, of course, there was the whole intentionally caving in the rear windshield thing that was going on for a while. Yep. That was a thing.
I mean, it's not really fully transparent, but remember the early 2000s when NASCAR was getting sick of people jumping on the roof in Victory Lane, so there was that PVC like blocker pipe that two guys had to hold in Victory Lane.
yeah, and then they could only stand on the window, and I always thought that was lame. I always liked when they got up on top of the car, and it's like, look, if they want to damage the car in the celebration, they're gonna do it anyway. They're gonna pull a Jimmy Johnson, and they're just gonna smack the right rear or something into the wall and say, oh well, that's out of line because I hit it. And
Canal specifically said that if we win this race, you have to back in the wall. Oh, good times in the racing world here. But I will say one thing here about IRP. Well, I'll say two things. first thing, the racing's actually been pretty good so far. And the second thing, these cautions are painfully long.
They are. Obviously, you know, we've got to make, I think, at minimum 3 pace laps. You know, one, actually, it could be 4. 1 to get caught up, 1 for the lead lap cars to pit, 1 for the cars a lap down to pit, and then 1 to get formed up and go. But the thing is, the pace laps are so long here because the corners are so sweeping. The track is, obviously, it races like a short track, but in distance, it's actually kind of big.
Yeah, it's. I feel like there was a glitch for a while back that some of the intermediates actually had 6 laps for cautions, and I feel like this being an older track, it never got the treatment here. Ooh, I think those lights are on there. I think I saw a little flicker here. So the first visuals of nighttime appearing here at IRP. So barring things that have changed since last we have been made aware, should have about 6 laps to go for the stage coming at lap number 80. So Latham's going to try to get those fresh tires and get that extra point. But Levine rather has been hanging on to, let's see if he can keep doing so. Green flag back in the air. A little bit coagulated back there. Everybody's all over. Here comes Latham down to the bottom, then be side by side off of 2 down the back.
And a little bit of door slamming. This is not the first time Seminario and Edward Scherer have come together. The 14 looks like he's going to take the advantage into the corner in front of them, still battling for the lead. Latham on the bottom, and it's going to be no contact yet. Latham clear into the lead. He's looking good for a stage win if he can keep that number 1 at bay. But again, the 56 and the 14 are going to bump each other. Ippolito is probably a little bit tired of having these battles break out where it's blocking his progress. This is the second time that's happened for him, but the 28 of Kendall Levron looking to make a move. He's going to gas it up and get close, but not close enough. As here comes the 19, just shoving him down the straightaway. No patience here. We're getting to the end of the stage. We got to go.
Ippolito's got some fresh Goodyears on, as obviously Scherer did manage to get by the one of Levine here, but Johan's trying to take his stab at it here and trying to make the most of it, and Latham's trying not to burn off too much of the tires. Ippolito's trying to get some true position, and we will be interrupted again.
Oh, man.
I don't know if there's a caution cap here in the league, but I think this may be his 3rd caution. And again, the guy who led almost 50 laps earlier in the race has just fallen off the edge here. And
if this is another self-spin, that's... Let's see, it was. He just got a little loose out of the corner.
Yeah, went one. Oh, and then it exit again. Just, oh, I wish there was like a cat sound here. Like, look at Hickson, just like, oh. So how did this happen?
Yeah, let's follow along with the 16.
Oh, did he get hit there?
Oh, no, he didn't get hit. He swerved to avoid that wreck, and he did not realize he was swerving into somebody.
Let's just, we'll go one more time from the...
Yeah, no contact there. He was just trying to avoid it. A little bit of an overreaction. So you'll see the 25 loose in front of him, and just...
Well, he got did in there, but I think it was inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah, he weaved up the track. He wanted to stay out of the 25's way, and unfortunately weaved into somebody. So a little bit of damage for him. But, yeah, a lot of leagues, and even in real life, there would generally be a 3 and you're done rule. Whether or not SSRL does that, I do not know. Given the fact that he's still on track, probably not. There is the incident cap in place, though. So eventually, if that keeps happening, the incident limit will take care of it in and of itself. But that's just strange, Corey. I mean... You don't really see that very often, that somebody's got that kind of speed. They get the pole, they lead a bunch of laps, and then all of a sudden, the handling just goes off a cliff. I mean, it's not like he's bumping into people.
He's led half of the race so far, and he's wrecked 3 times.
Yeah, it's very strange. I mean, he's on the ragged edge with that 25 machine, and I'm hesitant to blame him as a driver. I feel like the setup is just doing something weird, and it's maybe not jiving with them very well, but it's a strange situation.
Now, Josh Campbell has taken the lead here. He did not pit on the stage. Obviously, we were busy watching replays, so we didn't catch the pit stop sequence. But Latham pit for fuel only a 5.6 second stop. Wise 5 seconds. And then 4 tires and fuel, basically the remainder of the field here as 33. No, he's right there. I thought he was running high as if he was a lucky dog, but there's no Lucky Dog currently right now. So we'll see what the 8 can do, both with older tires and that concave nose there. See how much handling impact that has. But I'll tell you what we saw in 100%, Andre, with tires at Loudon, and I'm gonna throw them both in the same ring. We saw tires really hang on quite well at Loudon, and it wouldn't surprise me if it did here as well, but, you know, I'm probably wrong too.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I feel like this being such an old scan, I feel like the tires are going to react to it maybe a little bit differently than they would Loudon, which is a little bit newer.
Nope. But this place is 5 years newer than Loudon.
Oh, is it newer? Okay, so yeah, well, either way, it's going to react differently. It's hard to tell with iRacing. You know, it goes from track to track. You never really know what the tire model's going to do, but it could be that old tires do hold on just like they had before. But the 8 car is going to lead the way. He's got Timothy Latham on his outside, and by the way, the stage is over. That caution fell just the right time to cross through lap 80.
Oh god, we're already flailing.
We're almost going to go 3 wide for the lead here. I think I think Levine finally took tires there on that stop. The 8 car.
Yeah, Latham is on slightly older tires than everybody else compared to those who pitted. Campbell pitted on 2 or 3 cautions ago, so he's on 13-lap old tires, but he's not going down without a fight. He's going down to the inside of Latham here. Even though I have older tires, who says I don't have a fast car? He's going to dive to the inside and try to battle with him here through 3 and 4. Does have to fall back in the line there. They'll be door-to-door with Levine and Ippolito there for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, I don't think that damage is holding Campbell back too much. Definitely seems like the handling is still there. And another caution on the speedway. It's going to be lap 85,
Saucier
and it's the 90.
And Sebacornes. I will say I am on my new mouse, Andre, so you could probably tell that I've been a lot better with replays here tonight. My new mouse that is exactly the same mouse that... Oh, I'll tell that story in a little bit. The 90 of Saucier, the inside of Sebacornes here. Off of 4. Cornes got loose and ripped Saucier in the process. But
yeah,
light enough contact should be all right.
And we've seen so many drivers get loose out of these corners. You can't really fault them. It seems to be the nature of the beast here. And the problem is you get loose like that, and if there's somebody underneath you, you're going to hit them before you have time to get that car corrected. So unfortunate, but like you said, light contact. They're by no means done.
So let's just have a little moment of Silva done stupid, okay? So I had a mouse. It was a Logitech mouse. It was acting up. It was double-clicking when I was single-clicking. It wasn't reacting right. So I spent probably a good 2 hours researching a new mouse. I was like, not that one. Not that one. This one's all right. Nah, look for this one. Ooh, I really like this one. So I bought one, and then I'm setting it up, and I'm like, looks familiar. So I go look at the bottom. Literally the same exact model number. Same exact one, and I literally spent hours researching the exact same one I already had. It's probably top 5 stupidest things. And I mean, it works good. I liked it. I had it for years, but it's like I literally did not even know that I was spending time researching the same thing I already had.
Yeah. I feel like I've probably done very similar things in the past, but I'm also the kind of person that if I need new hardware, I tend to just find whatever's cheap and also quick. My keyboard died the other day. I'm probably the only person in the world that the tilde key quit working on my key. It was the only key on the whole thing that quit working.
The squiggle?
But the thing is, I'm probably the only person on planet Earth that uses that on a regular basis. So I needed a new keyboard, so I literally just ran to Walmart and I got whatever $40 wired keyboard they had, and it's been serving me well.
Yeah, I mean, it's the approximate number, and it's also the... I mean, you don't use that for a Spanish number, so I would be very curious what you use that for on a routine basis, but we all have our...
So it's actually because in one of the... I don't really play video games anymore, but the one game that I do still play is I play modded zombies maps on Black Ops 3, and when you want to restart those maps, there's not like an actual like restart button in the pause menu. So if something goes wrong or you die or whatever, you have to input a console command to restart and reload the map. and you do that by you initiate it with the tilde key. And because it's like the only video game I still play, I needed that key to work.
Yes. Well, kudos to Great Value for having quality keyboards, but again, I'm going to reiterate my point. These cautions are long, man. It's some kind of glitch with iRacing. It's 6 cautions for 28 laps, so normally that'd be it's about an extra lap per caution.
Yeah, that's more than 4 laps per caution for sure.
So lights out on the pace car. Again, a little recap of where we stand. Latham on 8 lap older. Actually, this is going to be impossible for me to calculate now because the stint calculator that I have, you can see here, it'll say 11 laps for him and 11 laps for Levine. But because their tire strategies are different, it basically makes it impossible for me to realize, oh yeah, he pitted him, he pitted here. So there's going to be a lot of guessing as to how old the tires are. But what I do know is Latham's tires are about 8 laps older than Levine. But he is leading the race. Ippolito in 4th also on new tires. So Latham's going to have to try to hang on here. But let's see what happens here. A single file restart. That must have been a call by the admin to try to clean the racing up here. Green flag back in the air. And there goes Seminario looking out of the inside right off the get-go.
Yeah, I would say that the single file is probably a good idea. See if we can't get another green flag stretch. As that is going to be, I believe, the 33 Wise on the outside of Lebron. But they're able to keep it going as looks like the 56 and the 28 may come together here. This is some bumper-to-bumper racing here. Even though we restarted single file, that's not stopping these guys from racing into these corners and not giving each other an inch. Wise tried the high line, didn't work. He moved down low.
Oh, that's a wall, guys.
Either. Yeah, I mean, you got to try every lane. I guess that includes the wall. But he's going to go back to the bottom now. And if they're not careful, they got Root right behind him. And we know he's got some speed underneath the hood of that thing. So let's see if he can maybe take advantage of this battle. I mean, Wise is really driving it into the, or not, I'm sorry, not Wise. Lebron is really driving it in deep into these corners, trying to get around Seminario.
Yeah, Lebron, remember, trying to recoup from his initial penalty that started the race off, and finally has a decent level of track position right now. They're running in the 7th spot. I was looking forward to a potential battle between teammates 5th and 6th because they were dooring each other into oblivion earlier, but it looks like Scherer may have the upper hand as he closes in on Ippolito here. Ippolito has a pretty good car here today, but I don't know if it's as good as those Hyperforce cars. It's trying to figure something out, but speaking of figuring something out, I think Levine's trying to figure something out in terms of getting by that Ada Campbell there. Dives down to the inside, all the way down to the flat, drifts on up, but he's able to have enough grip to maintain that speed on the low line.
Yeah, the bottom is not as bad as I was expecting it to be. I mean, it's definitely not preferred, but we've definitely seen some drivers use it to good advantage. So a little bit of multi-groove racing here, which I didn't quite expect to this extent. With the trucks, sure. I mean, the trucks are usually multi-groove here, but with the Cup car, you never really know, and it's actually not disappointing here. Pretty good racing product. Seminario right behind the 14 as we go to our roll cage cam on board with the 56, running just a little bit lower. Look at the hands on that steering wheel. Notice how little he's actually turning. He is not cranking on the wheel that much.
Bumps entering 1 there. I never really noticed those before.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this track hasn't been resurfaced in a very long time, so it's not a smooth surface. But even so, I mean, I'm really impressed. If you look at that steering wheel, look at the tape, not cranking on the wheel, which is exactly what it's going to take. If you burn that right front up, if you crank on that wheel, that car is going to get tight, and you're going to have a bad time with the outside wall. So if you can keep a steady wheel, I call it the Kevin Harvick wheel. You know, if you can hold it steady and calm, it's going to be a big advantage.
Yeah, exactly that. I think this track in real life is more like crack repair sealer than it is actual pavement, but they did talk about paving this track, and I know this track did go through a renovation process. They got a budget. They were going to try to spend a lot of money because you know what every track is doing now is the 14 trying to get by Ippolito there and also trying to get by Campbell and going 2 for 1. What every track in America is basically doing now is they're putting a huge reno in because they don't ask us trying to change the schedule. They want to get a date. I think IRP is on that list that they're trying it. Whether it works is TBD. But Scherer, a little bit of contact there with Campbell off of 4. He's going to have to drive to the inside. He's going to try to pull off the old slider. Well, actually, no, he's going to leave the lane up top there, but he's not going to need it because Campbell can't keep it.
And we are at halfway. Once they cross the line this time, we will have completed 100 laps out of 200. Ippolito still looking to the low side of Campbell, not quite able to get there. Behind them, that's some two-wide racing with the 25.
Captain
down on the
backwards here.
flat. I can't believe he even trusts the flat down there after the issues he's had, but hey, using it to great speed. And this is just, I mean, it shocks me. All the issues he's had, Corey, and he's in 7th. I mean, he's shooting up through the field.
Yeah, just no damage. And look at the stopwatch there. He's right on pace there. Fastest car last time by far actually was the one of Levine. So we'll keep it up and see if that trends. But yeah, he's going all the way down to the flat as the 25, testing all the transitions, testing all the stability in that setup. And clearly he has gained a new level of confidence, and or the track is changing. Drives all the way to the flat. Let me take it 3 wide. Why not? Gets by Campbell, tries to go by Seminario, but he's going to have to kind of pull in the reins just a little bit here. He's going to have to watch out, because if it doesn't work, he has a line behind him.
Well, you know, and this kind of fills in the blanks for me. I think I now know why Henry is struggling with the handling so much. They say loose is fast, and I think he's definitely probably got...
Lebron.
No! Lebron right in front of RJ. RJ, he was on the ball there. He let off and made sure that wasn't worse than it needed to be.
This is the race of the concave nose. Look at RJ here. It's just a damage model faux pas that the front end only damages one way. But yeah, we did catch that live, so I will spare us the replay. But Lebron and RJ just having a little bit of issues there.
Yeah, definitely looking like the same damage model across the entire track. But the number 5 is starting to, I think, lose the lead a little bit here. He had pulled away from Levine just a little bit. But now if you look at those lap times, Levine was a 10th quicker, 22.7. That time Latham actually pulls away, so maybe trading off those lap times back and forth. Levine and Latham not quite close enough to see that promo car. There is a lap car up ahead, it seems. Not sure who that would be.
I believe it is Julian Bird. Yes, it is, in the 30. And just to bring up his picture, because he did submit it. Put his old face on Ricky Bobby.
I love it. That is amazing. And he's the driver that just barely scraped through one of those cautions earlier. I mean,
and look at that team name there. That's badass.
Pistol Creek Sim Racing. I like it. I like it. But yeah, he's having a bit of a rough night so far, but you know, we're only halfway. There's some time to turn around. He's 2 laps down, so you know, he needs some cautions to maybe get those lucky dogs. But the way this race has gone, not impossible, although he's maybe going to need another lucky dog, as here comes Latham to put him a lap down. I think seeing Levine close that gap temporarily kind of lit a fire under Latham, because ever since then, he's just been a little bit quicker lap after lap, starting to pull away. And actually, 3rd place, trying to make his presence known. Scherer closing in on Levine, and then we got this battle here. This is going to be a fun one to watch. We got Seminario and Ippolito. These two have been racing for a while now. And then the 25, who's pretty much, I think, wreckers or checkers at this point. He's going to win this race, or he is going to DNF. I don't think there's an in-between for him, and he's trying to make the pass on both of them.
Yeah, well, literally, because I think he's trying to take a 3 wide here to the bottom. Well, he's at least going to get Ippolito here. Seminario able to pull away, but look at the 25. Couldn't fully yeet it on in there. Didn't have enough confidence or space to do that. He's going to pull door to door here from our drone cam there, and looks like Ippolito will give him the spot. Move Henry back up to 5th there. And something I did want to point out to your prior point, Andre, about Latham and Levine here, is in the real world, if you did get to watch the rain-delayed NASCAR Loudon race, Truex was losing time to Logano because Logano was running a different line. So what happened? He learned what the guy behind him was doing and found a way to make it work, and then got his lead back. And I feel like that is very well applicable here at IRP.
I would have to agree with that 100%. I'm also looking a little bit further back down the running order, and I'm seeing that RJ is closing back in on Lebron. These two have not gotten away from each other. And you got to think, after that incident where the 28 caused the checkup, RJ's patience has got to be wearing thin. He's going to make the move down to the low side, can't quite hold it. You can see how much he had to lift. He dove it in deep, made up the ground, and then immediately lost it. And here he goes again, deep into the corner. Go to the hood cam on board with RJ. And all 3 of these drivers run on a slightly different line. We got Campbell way up at the top. We've got Levron just about half a lane down, and then we got RJ, who's just sailing it down to the bottom and then drifting back up.
Here's a camera for you. Back bumper cam of Campbell here.
And this will do a good job showing you the different lanes
Whoa,
these guys are all
wasn't expecting
running.
RJ to do that.
I think the 28 may have had an issue getting into the corner there that allowed RJ to close in, but man, RJ, that setup is just not getting the corner exits that he needs. He makes up so much ground on entry, but right there he drives it in deep and he drifts up the track, kind of door slams the 28 a little bit. Something with that car is just, I don't know if he's fighting time. Oh, okay.
And that's their second issue of the race, so tickets to the SSRL MMA fight will be right outside the 69 hauler after this one.
Yeah, we still haven't got the boxing gloves on Johan yet, so we'll have to organize that. But let's take a look at the replay. We did catch that live, but as we are under caution, might as well take a look. So I had just said I think RJ might be fighting tight, and I think fighting tight he was because he just.
Let's find the moment of contact. And so remember, he came all the way from the flat. And if we want to be completely dissective here, let me go to my flagman cam. He did slightly come up into that top lane. And now I'm not trying to pin blame here. I'm just trying to see who is it fault or is it a racing deal? And I'm just going to call that a racing deal.
Yeah, I mean, with this track, and it goes back to what I said earlier, when you burn up your right front and you make that car tight, there's not a whole lot you can do on corner exit. It's just gonna be evil when you come out of the corner. I think that's what happened to RJ. But either way, we're gonna throw it to a short break. We'll be back for the drop of the green, and we are just past halfway here at IRP.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with...
And we're back here on PTRTV for race number... Wrong graphic. Race number 15 of the SSRL Cup Series here at Lucas Oil Raceway at Indianapolis Raceway Park, or just IRP. After our up-teamed caution of the race, going to try it one more time. There were some pit stops in Ty Ippolito. 41-lap old tires leading the field down, trying to preserve the three that are on the wall for tonight's efforts. Pace car is in. Barney has the flag in hand. And there goes a wave in here. Let's try it again.
So this time a double file. Restarting immediate issues for Seminario. He gets a little bit sideways up to the wall. He is bleeding positions right now, but Oh no, more contact. He comes down into the 55. And that's going to cause a huge pileup.
Levron again. He may be worried about the incident cap at this point for Levron. Dave Feud just comes to a dead stop here. We'll fire up the good old replay here. He has been, replay's been rather busy here on the evening.
Yeah, you know, I thought Johan was going to save it here, and he did.
So what happened there? He enters the corner. That's his teammate to his outside. Yeah, he like just overcooked it.
Yeah, just a little bit loose. Could have been a little bit too much on the brakes there, and then unfortunately did not realize that Tanner Marty was down there. And Zodiac again, this poor guy, he can't buy a break tonight, man.
And then Dave's like, "I'ma just stop right here."
And that's how you do it. Hey, when that caution comes out and you see a cluster like that, you just park it. There ain't nothing to gain by trying to drive through that.
All right, so we know we have a long caution, Andre, because these cautions have been long. So I'm gonna let you take the scanner and dial someone up, and let's have a little chat.
All right.
I can actually do the dialing if you have someone you want to pick. I don't know if your privileges allow you to.
Hey, what? Let's bring in Zodiac. He's been in a few close calls tonight. Let's see what he's thinking.
If I could find him. Oh, he's down there.
Kevin Zodiac, it's Andre up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, Kevin, we've been talking about you a little bit tonight. It seems like you got a magnet in your car. If there's an issue on the track, it seems like somehow it finds you. But, you know, the 37 car still looks pretty clean and not running too bad right now. How you feeling?
Still learning the track. I've been trying to stay out of everybody's way, but yeah, trouble keeps finding me. Some way, somehow.
Yeah, it looks like...
plugging along.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like this track's pretty rough for a lot of drivers. A lot of bumps. The cars are getting unsettled. A lot of self-spins. How's the actual driving condition? You said you're still kind of learning the track. What have you figured out so far?
Well, I got a nice, great, stable set. It's just getting off the corners and getting comfortable with the track and staying, like I said, staying out of people's way.
All right. And finally, what's the plan going forward? Just going to try to keep it clean, or at what point do you think you're going to turn up the aggression a little bit?
Well, I'm 6 laps down, so not gonna be too much aggression unless a lot of people help me out. But I don't see that. So just gonna stay out of trouble and keep learning the track.
Well, with the amount of cautions we've had, you never know. Those 6 laps could come back to you. But
yep, this is true.
Well, we thank you for your time, Kevin. Good luck, and hopefully you can get a good solid finish.
All right, thank you.
I think it's the first time we've ever interviewed someone 6 laps down.
I mean, I feel like we had to. This guy, he's been in the thick of it.
Into the thick of it. Sorry, TikTok trends. So 75 laps to go. I think if the man above can give us one to go, please, I beg. Hey! Yeah, so we'll get one to go. So admin does have abilities to make on-the-fly decisions that affect the race. So the race naturally has double file restarts. They can automate some dirt series we'll do after the 3rd caution. It goes to single file, or the admin at any time can just go and make single file restarts. So obviously that has been the name of the game. Some tracks need it. Of course, in real life, they did it at a few road courses and in rain races. So it's not an unheard of decision, and it did give us a fairly decent run there. So obviously a good call to continue doing that. But Ippolito on 47 lap tires to Philip Henry's 9. Philip Henry? He took fuel on the last stop. That's why he's still on old tires himself. Green flag back in the air. He has the fuel, but not has the tires. English. Timothy Latham does have tires back there in 3rd. And never mind.
And we are back under yellow. Oh, entrance to turn 1. Something happened in the back of the field.
Don't even tell me.
Oh no!
Oh my gosh! You didn't. You didn't.
Oh man!
You did.
Let's see what happened.
Oh, it was right in front of him.
It happened in front of him again too.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing.
Marty.
I'm laughing with you, Kevin. I'm not laughing at you.
Yeah, it's a sad laugh for me. This poor guy.
33 a wise kind of blocked Johan, and then the 75.
Johan's out for blood tonight. He's using those muscles.
Let's get a look here from the 75's perspective. That's not the 75. This is the 75. This is Charles Eaton. Who blocked? Who came down? Who blocked? Ouch. It doesn't matter how it is. It's just an ouch. Is that the rear end in the air? Yeah. Look at that.
I mean, Marty had it locked up. He was trying to slow down, but...
Oh, yeah, 44 as well. That's Adam Glackfelter, a newbie to the league.
So 75, a little bit of damage, and unfortunately just continuing the rough night for the 37. But tell you what, let's throw it to one more quick break. We'll be back for the drop of the green. There's about 70 laps left now. There will be about 68 when we go green.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign.
Alright, back here on PTRTV, and we have done research and uncovered a fact that was made aware to us that we just completely ignored. There is no incident limit tonight. We were talking about some drivers. How are they still in this race? Well, that explains it. So I think expecting the carnage that was going to happen, they didn't want everyone getting booted out of the race. So that explains a couple things there. So no drivers will be at risk of that. I don't know about penalties and stuff going forth, but either way, we'll figure that out. Ippolito still managing to lead this race. A couple guys out of line there. Tanner Marty, I'm not quite sure why he's where he is right now. But
yeah, he was one of the drivers that rear-ended the 37.
Yeah, he's supposed to be at 14th, but for some reason he restarted there, so I don't know if that's going to throw people off, but we're back racing nonetheless.
Yeah, Latham's going to make quick work out of Tanner Marty, take third place. Now here comes Scherer in the 14. See if he can make this pass. He's bringing Campbell as well.
Yeah, Marty is in the free pass spot. He's in the free pass spot. I literally not the foggiest idea why he did that, but...
And I think Marty rode the wall all the way through that corner, too. This is not a good restart for the 55, but in the meantime, we're pretty much single file up front. Everybody's getting it sorted out, so maybe we're going to see a little bit of green flag racing. There's Johan Seminario. He's been kind of out for blood these last few laps. Let's see if he can rein this back in and start picking up some positions. We know that 56 has been fast tonight, so wouldn't be a huge surprise right now behind his teammate Levine.
So we have in our chat right now, admin from one of the leagues that Andre and I cover, but I think he meant to post under his spam account, and he posted under his main account. So now we know exactly who it is. Hashtag fail there, Damaris. Going on our conversation of bump and runs the other day on our 100% broadcast, which is a podcast topic for a podcast that we will start that probably will never actually happen. But I am very, very surprised up here, Andre, because Ippolito has stayed up front for like 6 or 7 laps on ancient tires and relative terms. Don't do it again, Philip. Don't do it again. No.
Hold on to her, buddy. Hold on to her.
He protected himself from throwing a caution, but he was going for the lead. Now he's back to the end of the top 10 and out of the top 10, back to 12th.
That was a good save. I'll give him that. He very easily could have slid back up into traffic, but for the lead, Timothy Latham is going to get on the quarter panel and gets clear, but can he slide up in time? It's a Dale Jr. slide job.
Scherer there, he's going to try to go 2 for 1. He's going to, I thought he was going to do the Delaney yeet there, but he's going to stay and do a more modest move there. Gets by Ippolito, and there is a tire difference here, so Ippolito is expected to drop back there. Remember, 3 sets of tires on the wall. There's it's a lot of times we can guess who has what tire set. It's a complete guessing game at this point, folks. So if somebody comes to the pits for tires, we're going to be just as surprised as you. I have no inklings as to this tire strategy. There's too much going on for us to deduce it here. But what I do think, Andre, is on the minuscule chance this goes green to the end as a battle for the lead. Scherer taking a look underneath Latham. If this does magically go green to the end, I don't think they can make it on fuel.
It's going to be close. I don't think they can either, but this kind of goes back to what I said way back when. This could come down to fuel mileage, and depending on what gears you're running, some drivers are going to burn fuel quicker, some drivers are going to burn it slower. If they're in 4th gear, lower revs, they're going to be all right. For example, right here, Justin Levine, he's at about 6,300 revs in the center of the corner, and on the straightaway in 4th gear, he's getting up to about 78, 79. 3rd gear setup's probably going to be up in the 8,000s on the straightaway, and obviously in the 7,000s in the corner. So just burning up a little bit more fuel. Here's a 3rd gear car. It's 8,700 RPM down the straightaway, but he is lifting a ton in the corner. You can see it go down to 6,000 in the middle. So that's kind of the dichotomy here. The 4th gear setup never touched 8,000 on the straightaway, but this setup on high revs, he was on the chip actually on corner entry.
Just look at the difference. Everyone's doing something different.
Yeah, everybody doing
4th
something
gear,
a little bit
8,900. So he's...
Could have different gearing ratios there too.
Yeah, so you see Latham running 3rd gear high revs. You saw Levine running 3rd gear high revs. Now you have Scherer running 4th gear high revs. It's just all over the place.
Yeah, it's it's a big question mark for me. I mean, obviously, we're in the booth, we're not down in the pits, we don't know what these guys are doing setup wise, but I have a feeling that very few drivers are really doing the same exact thing unless they're on a team and they're sharing their setups, which a few of these guys are, but for the most part, I think there's a whole lot of different approaches these drivers have taken. Here comes Campbell with Seminario behind him, trying to get around Ippolito. It looks like he's not quite going to get clear yet. He's got to get a good run out of the corner, which he does. That puts him up in position. And it's going to be side by side, Seminario and Ippolito. Seminario trying to hold that middle groove. In the meantime, that 19 had to really run a little bit higher than I think he wanted to. Look at this run out of the corner by Seminario. That's going to let him lunge down into the corner. But traditionally, when we see a driver enter low like that, they get tight on exit and they got to lift. But that's not the case for Johan.
I think Campbell cleared there, just trying to get back into the ideal lines. If he fought too long, Ippolito is just going to be in the mix too. And there goes Levron, who's recovering from at least one incident. Remember, he had some issues with RJ Root, I think, on 2 occasions here on the evening. But Saucier, I think he was in something very, very early in the race, but has got the damage repaired, and here he is well in the top 10 now and trying to even gain that spot. So good run there. And Philip Henry on his umpteenth recovery effort of the night, trying to get by RJ Root. They remember going for the lead, led 50 laps, spun out 85 times, maybe 86.
Yeah, like I said, Corey, he's wreckers or checkers. He's going to win this thing or he is going to total it. There's not an in-between for this guy. He is ballistic fast, but that speed comes at the cost of stability, and he's gone through the field numerous times. And if we had a tracker on how many cars every driver's passed, I'm sure 25 would be up there in total overtakes. But the number 5, Timothy Latham, he's so far held off Scherer, but Scherer, every now and again, he'll click off a lap that's just a little bit quicker. It shows he's got some speed, and I think if you give it just a few more laps, we might see him try to make a bid for the lead. If you can just get a little bit closer, and man, oh man, you can see how loose they are out of that corner, Corey. I mean, just wiggling and bouncing. The potholes on this track are immense.
Yeah, they are. Now, I do want to just go into some league details for a minute, Andre, because there were some updates here. This league, as we know, has run a more erratic schedule, and to varying levels of success. So we know we did run Red Bull Ring, it flopped. There was another race that was off kilter, it flopped. So basically, there was some changes made. We were supposed to be running at Motegi next week, but due to the fact that it was expected to be a flop, we're going to go into Pocono next week. So a more traditional track should bring out a new driver base. And with road courses being a flop thus far in the league, Watkins Glen was taken off the schedule and replaced with, I can't remember where it was. But in a massive turn of events, the drivers rioted and said, we want to go to the Glen, so the Watkins Glen was put back onto the schedule. So that will be in our next group of schedules, next group of racing in the month of August.
I will say, as somebody who has ran a league in the past, that is probably the most frustrating thing about running a league is trying to design a schedule, because no matter what you do, there's going to be a driver somewhere, some way that's not happy with it, and there's going to be races that, on paper they sound really fun, but drivers just don't want to take the time to make setups and really start practicing the 75 down pit road. If it's a track that's too untraditional, you're going to see those attendance issues. So it kind of restricts you from doing anything too creative with the schedule. But at the same time, if you have a schedule that's pretty vanilla and you just follow NASCAR to a T, then you've got the drivers that say, well, why are we following NASCAR? It's a video game. Why don't we do something fun? Why don't we go to the Monza,
And that is exactly why he chose the Red Bull Ring, because Red Bull Ring is a Formula One road course, so naturally, us older guys aren't going to buy it. But it's basically the European Watkins Glen. It's a super easy and fun track. That's why he picked it, but nobody came out, and that's why we ultimately didn't air the race. So I feel for Dave. I've been talking to him and working with him on suggestions to make sure that, I want the league to succeed just as much as he does owning it. So we're working together as a partnership broadcaster and league owner, and we were worried about this race, Andre, and here we are pulling out the biggest grid I think we've had in SSRL this season. So we'll see if that luck carries over to next week's race, which will be at the aforementioned Pocono Raceway next week, the Tricky Triangle, which I just covered a race there last week, albeit in the Gen 4, and it was a phenomenal race. I don't know if these next gens will race as fun there, but we'll find out there in due course. But we still got a race on our hands now. You did see the 75 of Charles Eaton, who was a lead lap car, mind you, coming to the pits there, taking that gamble that this is going to go green, because if a caution comes out, he's up a creek. He's only going to get one of those laps back. But if it carries on, he's going to have fresher tires. He's running better laps. He may have himself a net gain versus where he came into the pits.
Yeah, it's really going to depend on how these cautions shake out, and that's, really the strategy for any short track is, you're going to be going laps down if you take an extra stop, but if things fall in the right way, then, maybe it still works out. Also, Dave Fuge must have come back on the track at some point. I just noticed he is 30 laps down. Which,
remember he stopped on the track we were talking about?
Yeah. So he's back out on track, and a few other drivers have also re-entered. Dakota Jorgensen, after he sat on pit road for a while, he's 9 laps down. We already talked about Zodiac being 6 laps down.
Well, let's just do it through the field, Andre, while we're talking about guys. May as well just go through them all. Let's do it right now. Timothy Latham up front. I think this going for maybe his 4th win of the year if he doesn't spin out in the process. Ed Scherer going for back-to-back in 2nd. Johan, finally, this is the best he's run all sequence thus far, in 3rd, closing in on both of these guys. Justin Levine hasn't had breathtaking speed, but a solid car in 4th. Josh Campbell has hung on pretty well in 5th. Kendall Levron trying to recover from a couple incidents in 6th. Corey Saucier, one of his better runs of the season, in 7th. Ty Ippolito hanging on with some old tires in 8th. Jake Hickson in 9th, and then Scott Wise in 10th. As we have a battle for the lead, we'll finish the rest in just a moment. But Ed Scherer going for the lead with his teammate just behind him.
Yeah, this was a move a long time in the making. The 14 has just been reeling Latham in inch by inch, lap after lap, and finally gets within striking distance, takes the lead away. And actually, he's going to slow up that number 5 just enough that Johan may be able to take this middle groove all the way to 2nd place. A little bit of a nudge there, but Latham able to hold on to 2nd so far. See, as they dive into 3 and 4, the 56 is trying to drive it in a little bit deeper. And Johan just so aggressive tonight. This is a side of him that I don't think we've seen so far this year.
Yeah, this is almost like, I almost feel like these two, it's as Latham kind of does a wall ride there, which it may have been faster, but you're not supposed to do that. So I think he kind of backed off to make himself not look bad there. But it's almost like one's the Jimmy Johnson, one's the Jeff Gordon. I don't know which one is which, but they're both so fast, the 56 and the 14, but I feel like they get mad when they get beat by each other, but they're glad to beat each other. They're nearly Latham and the 56 having some door tapping and still doing it through 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're not done, and that's why I wasn't saying anything. I was watching that battle so intently, and that was a result that I think was kind of inevitable.
I think Johan only lost maybe 2 spots out of that, so it's not going to be catastrophic, but I wouldn't want to make those muscles mad, but they may be mad here, so let's go up from the top down and see what happened.
Yeah, so Johan, he's in the middle groove, Latham's up top. I mean, that's tough to tell. It really, I mean, I don't think Latham came down.
No, I think, look at, this is the moment of contact right here.
Yeah, I mean, Latham couldn't go any higher.
Yeah, that's, Johan, sorry, bro, you spun yourself, don't murder me.
He just, you know, he cleared himself, and then we've seen it. It's not, he's not the only driver to do that, but, man, there's potholes on pit road. Yeah. That is crazy. I mean, just a huge bump. But yeah, split this strategy up here. It's going to be 34 to go at the moment.
So Scherer stays out. Johan stays out. This is 50 laps into the stint. Philip Henry, he's technically the highest in the pits right now, but that's just because of his track position. Latham exits the pits. Let's just pull up the pit stop time graphic and we'll know all this and stuff together. Fresh Goodyears on Latham. More fresh Goodyears. Question mark.
11 seconds. I'd say that's it.
Two tires and damage?
Yeah. Definitely not 4 tires, I don't think.
2. That's a slow 2-tire stop, but still 2. And 4. And then Tanner Marty, another one of those conspicuous stops, and I think he might just be calling it right here.
That could be the case. And the right front on that car, I don't know if that's the setup or if it's a little bit of damage, but it looks like the right front is jacked way up in the air.
All right, well, you know what we got to do right now, Andre? We have the 2 guys who are always off strategy, and they're off strategy again. So let's talk to the race leader. Hey, Ed, Corey, and Andre in the booth. You got me, bud?
I got you, boys.
So you guys always like being different on the strategy ball game, and that's exactly where it is right now. You guys get some old rubber, some new rubber behind you, but the tire inventory was very light here tonight. How confident you guys with your setup and your race setup right now, I should say?
Feel pretty good. I just hoping it goes into like one of those situations we've been having most of the night where we had that one stretch of green and then we have cautions that go nonstop. So I just feel like tires here in this situation just don't really mean as much if you have the clean air. So I'm just hoping to make it to the end here, and just want to shout out Team Watson for all the work they did for us. They kindly out of their heart gave us a good setup for tonight of all the Hyper Boys, so appreciate them very much. But yeah, let's see if we can get it done here.
All right, so just to clarify, you are hoping this goes green from here, or are you hoping that there's a last second, you know, kind of do what you guys did at Nashville?
Kind of feel like I'm hoping for a lot of cautions here to get close. Just honestly, I feel like I'll be comfortable no matter what happens with the clean air. So we'll see what happens though.
All right, man. Thanks for talking to us. Good luck. We'll get back at it.
Thanks.
So, he's the driver. I'm the guy who's been watching from the top. I don't have the same confidence he has with fresh tires and old tires right now. Do you share that, Andre?
Yeah, I would say I do. And also the fact that he said he's waiting or hoping for more cautions to be a little bit more comfortable on fuel. I mean, I think we're going to get some cautions, but I don't know. This fuel situation is a little bit iffy for me. We are doing another single file restart. The pace car is in. Johan is in second place despite his recent incident. He is going to be trying to get around this leader. I mean, so aggressive tonight. I would not be surprised if you see a very early lunge, and there it is. Not close enough.
Yeah, not close enough indeed. And what I'm waiting for is the lunge from Latham. But is Latham going to save his stuff and try to preserve it in case he's out of tires and they have some more? Or is he just going to go for it off the get-go? Well, he's going for it on the get-go. He's going to go right down there to the flat, try to get to the left rear quarter panel. Doesn't quite have enough. It looks like Seminario is going to try to block him down there and give him even a worse entry into the corner. But he's still going to have enough to go door-to-door with him, but he's going to get tight off the exit of the corner, fall back in line.
Yeah, he's definitely got the speed. He's just got... Oh, into the wall. That's not going to help him at all. That's going to let Levine and the number 1 get around. And caution.
Bump, 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 bump. What do we got now? Oh, no, it's not.
Oh, no. Oh, Kevin.
So I think he would have incidented it out like 3 races in a row with the amount of issues he's had tonight.
Yeah, let's see. This one actually may have been him. Let's see. Is this going to be the first? No, I don't think it is.
But what? So the 30 checks up for some Julian Bird. Now, Julian Bird, and I say this as kindly as possible, he's basically been like a Morgan Shepherd here tonight, just kind of trying to stay out of the way. And I think that may have been the cause of this.
Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the checkup, but it caused a bit of an accordion effect, and Zodiac did what he could to slow down, and unfortunately
he was just running so slowly there.
Yeah, nobody expected him to be that slow at the end of the straightaway, and it just led to a huge mix-up here. The 44 almost getting into him, and then Wise in the 33 making a little bit of a nudge to the 37, and that was all she wrote.
So what we're going to do, Andre, and this is something that we're just going to do for fun, and I think he'll find it as a joke too. I'm going to bring him back in the booth, and I just want you to apologize to him. Are you okay with that?
Yes. Kevin, it's Andre up in the booth. You got a copy?
That copy.
Well, we figured we should bring you back up and apologize for what may be the biggest commentator's curse of all time. Ever since we brought you up, it's been downhill. Things have been bad.
Yeah, it's a mess tonight. You're absolutely right. I'm just a magnet at this point.
Yeah, that was a weird one. The number 30, it was a little bit off pace on the straightaway. Everybody checked up. You slowed down to avoid getting into him, and then I think Wise behind you just didn't quite see that everybody was checking up and made a little bit of contact. It's been rough out there for a lot of drivers.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I thought it was just me.
No, it's actually, as we mentioned on the broadcast earlier, there's no incident limit tonight. So a lot of guys that maybe would have gotten incident pointed out, they're still here, which is, I think, leading to some of the struggles that we're seeing. But yeah, we just wanted to apologize. This is our fault. You can blame us.
I'll hold you to that.
Good luck, man.
Thanks.
First time we've ever interviewed someone 6 laps down twice in one race.
Well, at least he's still only 6 laps down.
But
it could be worse.
But I do appreciate his longevity here and his sportsmanship, because I would not have the patience and the lack of let's just say the positive spirits. If this kept happening to me, I would have Alt F4'd probably 85 laps ago, rather than sticking it out and fighting for points, fighting for respect, and learning. And that's what he has. He has that spirit to be able to persevere through the difficult times and still have fun with it. So that's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably be long out of this session were that me. But, sometimes you're here. You might as well finish it out. And that's what he's doing. So we'll see if it maybe ends a little bit better than it's been going, as the pace car going to come down the very bumpy pit road. Not very often you say that. And the 14, Ed Scherer, he's got Seminario behind him, trying to take the lead away. He's going to have to get a good restart here. Not too many laps left. Lap 178 when they cross the stripe, so that'll be 23 to go. In the restart zone, green flag waves, and it is a good start for Seminario. He is on the bumper of the 14, taking that lower line through the corner. Almost a picture-perfect repeat of the last restart, although this time Latham not in the wall, not opening up the door for Levine. And that 14 pulling away a little bit as we come out of turn 4.
Yeah, Latham I think he's just picking and choosing his times, but he can't pick and choose too much because there's only 20 laps to go. RJ with a huge wiggle wobble, and somebody there at the back.
He's going around.
75 around. He's doing a backwards endeavor while RJ Root, and is that No, that's not Johan. It's a very similar looking car. Corey Saucier, maybe? No, it was Johan.
Oh, no.
So that was like a 12-part incident here. Well, let's follow Johan first, because that's the biggest of note for the race implications here.
So everybody was getting squirrely. And,
Oh, that was like a tank slap. Oh, Latham, Blevron. Now, Honor, do I give my opinion on this or no?
I mean, sure.
No, I'm not. You give your opinion first, and I'll tell you if I agree with it or not.
I think, that was just two drivers being aggressive.
Oh,
Johan definitely was trying to
just murdered himself. And
smack the wall.
Did you say RJ Root, I think, was involved in something too? No?
Yeah, RJ was also involved. He got a little bit sideways, but he got it gathered up. And as I was saying, I think Johan was definitely mirror driving there. He was trying to run Latham down as far as he could. Latham didn't want to let off the throttle. He wanted to enter right on the bumper, and he did. And I don't think there was any contact there. He might have taken the air off the spoiler, but overall...
If he did hit him, it was a whisper of like a little baby tap of a hit. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, how much lower is he going to go? So...
Yeah, it's kind of like the AI in the old EA Sports games that you just have to expect they're going to block you down to the apron on corner entry.
Is that when the rival meter was at like 95?
Oh, no, that was when the rival meter was at 0. When it was at 95, they just killed you.
Did you ever notice any appreciable benefit to having an ally? Like, I never really noticed sharing draft be advantageous. I never really noticed them get out of the way. They just didn't kill you when it was green.
Well, it depends on the game. In 2005, if they were like a 100% ally, they wouldn't block you down to the apron. If it was just neutral, if they were just at 0 and it was completely, you've never interacted with them, the default was to block you and drive you aggressive, almost as if they were a rival. So you had to make them friends to make them not do that.
Oh my God, I remember Martinsville. I'm like, you're literally blocking me to the pit wall at Martinsville. My God, those good old days. That
yeah. Sometimes they would go down there to block you and run into the pit barrels themselves.
Now, let's also make known that there are some drivers in this league, and I don't remember them all offhand, that were not even born when the game we were playing was actually created, if that makes any of us feel better.
I was just about to say there's no way that's true, and then I remember that game came out in 2004, which was almost 20 years
Thunder
ago.
2004 came out in 2003, so... Yeah.
So that was 20 years ago, and yeah...
And some of the iRacing scans were done in 2007, so still in the same era of EA Sports games. And like a interesting reference that I did on the broadcast Saturday, Andre, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, there is a billboard that is congratulating NASCAR on its 60th anniversary. And as we know, this is a very big anniversary for 75. So hashtag, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit old scans on some of these tracks at iRacing. I think it used to be Watkins Glen that had the oldest scan for a while. They still had the sand traps and all of the...
Oldest scan in the book, I think, is Concord because it has Nextel billboards on it.
Oh my, yeah, that...
I think Nextel went out and with Sprint in 05 or something like that. So
yeah, because it was only the Nextel Cup for 2 years, I think, or was it just 1 year?
I was like 3 or 4. But either way, that's a podcast up. I guess we should really actually start that in hindsight. But we're coming down to crunch time right now. And Scherer, I don't know how happy he's going to be that his teammate got put behind. But Latham's still on those fresher tires. Have the heat cycles degraded the tires enough to where it's not as big of a deal? I don't think so. But we'll find out together. Of course, Levine back there trying to do something. And Josh Campbell trying to snooker himself into maybe a win here. But the 5 kind of blocked the 1 down low just a little bit there, and the 14 pulling away here on the old rubber.
Yeah, that 14 is a rocket ship right now, and Levine is trying to make something work here. Way down low, gets tight on corner exit. That's going to put Latham in the wall. He can't get off of it. He's stuck. Campbell coming through.
Justin Levine going for another win here, 2nd spot, but again, we'll just have to get a lap time. We'll let Levine run a solid lap here, and we'll get a lap time differential amongst our race leaders and try to figure out. But look at Captain backwards here in the 4th spot.
Yeah, I cannot believe the recovery he has had. Able to work his way back up from about 15th after that incident. And that's about the 4th or 5th time he's had to do it tonight. and he is showing a ton of speed, only 1 second back from the leader, closing in. He's probably going to make short work of Campbell with the rate that he's going. Latham may have some damage from getting into that wall and being stuck to it as long as he was, because a lot of drivers getting around him very quickly. The number 16 is going to get around him. Looks like RJ Root's going to be in line. Then you got Corey Saucer, you got Ippolito. All these drivers just being held up and bunched up by the number 5 on the high line. Here comes Root, diving it down low, going to try to throw a slider on him if he can. But up front, this is the battle. The 14 had pulled away. Now he's lost that lead. It is only going to be about 0.3 of a second from him back to second place, Justin Levine. And then to Campbell, it's only half a second. And Henry, well, he's 0.7 back. So we got a 4-car battle for the lead. Jake Hickson is going to be 4th. He's a little bit further back, but these 4 drivers all have a good shot.
Knock, knock. Guess who's there?
0.1 of a second, striking distance.
Oh, and he's looking for the dive. Maybe not going for the dive. Maybe just trying to make his presence known. But even so, he has the ability to just look low, and he has the grip to run low. And now, he just has to watch out. If you're the 14, don't do what your teammate did. Don't block down low, because at this point, you ain't going to play nice. And Captain Backwards, he ain't out of this yet. You said wreckers or checkers. Yeah, he's taking that quite literally here. I think he's going to grab 3rd if he can battle the 8, but the 8 gets the run off the exit.
Yeah, that was a good run by Campbell. He's able to hold on to the position, at least for another corner, but that 25 is not going to give it up. He is in fight or flight mode. He is going to win this thing if he can. Just, a little bit loose on that banking transition. Caution flies on the speedway. I think the 25 was in 3rd. And another incident for that 56. It's looking more crumpled up every time we pan the camera over to it. Take a look at our PTRTV instant replay. He's a little bit further back. 44 behind him.
Adam Glatfelter.
Ooh.
That was more than a boop. That was a bop right there. And nope, the 8 scored in that 3rd spot, so for Captain Backwards there, that is definitely going to hurt his efforts, because he's going to have to fight once more. And now Levine, Latham's not there to deal with, so if Levine can get a good restart, again, another heat cycle on the tires, but he was running 0.2 of a second faster a lap on average, so he has the pace. But how do you get by here, Andre? The 14, he's going to try to block low. So is the move to try to snooker him, make him think you're going low, and then try to force yourself on the high lane when he leaves it open?
It's tough. I think the only way to get around him is going to be to try and fake him out. Make him think that you're going to go one lane, and then at the last second, try to switch up the lanes. Maybe if he blocks you down to the bottom, sling it up to the top, try to get a run out of the corner. If he blocks you up to the wall and you can make him enter high, then you got to dive down low and throw a slider. But I think as long as he knows what lane you're taking, he's been so good at defense, it's going to be difficult to do much of anything.
I think the best thing that can, if you're a Justin Levine fan, and this is not going to go over well with the 14, but we call it like it is. I think the best thing that can happen is what Johan did to Timothy Latham, because it basically absolves him of fault, because you took my lane away. What was I supposed to do? You took my line away last second. I couldn't react in time. You spun yourself. I really think that's the best thing that could probably happen for Levine, because it's going to be so hard to just make that pass naturally, especially with these super long cautions. It's probably going to be 3 to go. Yeah,
it's going to be 3 to go at the most, maybe 4 to go. We'll see when the lights go off. But either way, it's not going to be an easy task, even with the difference in tires, the difference in strategy. Definitely, I don't think fuel's a question anymore. I think we've had enough cautions that these guys have been able to pace and conserve enough that they can pretty much go all out, which may be lending itself to the aggression we've seen. Maybe that's why these guys are driving so hard, is just because they know, fuel's good, tires are probably decent enough, and they're just going full send. But the lights didn't go off that time, so it will be 3 to go. when we go green. It's going to be a very short shoot to the end. It has been 13 cautions tonight for 62 laps. That is
almost like 30 some odd % of the race right there.
Yeah, and again, with this track scan being a little bit older, maybe iRacing didn't give it the attention that it needs with the caution length, because really, these last 2 laps, nobody could pit. Pit lane was closed. We were just kind of burning laps here, which has been the case for every caution, which is not ideal, but nothing we can really do.
I'll have to teach Dave the trick of shortening pace laps there, because it is actually something admin can override, even if the automated system. No, we're going double file for this one. Oh, Nelly, this ain't over yet. I would love to know if this was a sim glitch or if this was a manual decision to let him ride here with 3 laps to go, but that makes our life a lot more interesting. Let's see. Take it away, Andre.
Yeah, I think it was probably an admin decision to let it go double file. I mean, it's going to be a shootout to the end, and I think this has given some of these drivers a better shot at making a move, a little bit more organic. Let's see. 14 shoots out on the restart. He's been good at that so far tonight. Levine, the middle groove. He's got Campbell right behind, and then you've got Henry, who knows that if he's going to get up there, he's got to do something now. The lap times are short here. These 3 laps are going to pass by in the blink of an eye, so they got to get going. 2 wide for 4th place. Root and Hickson battling it out. And look at this, Levine with a great run through 4, gets to the bumper of the 14. Riding the wall, he is right against the tire marks.
That's the perfect kiss. That's the perfect kiss, because that's going to give him a good run on corner exit. If he can maintain it, I don't think he could.
But he had to lift a little bit. That would have been good. He could have drove down the banking, but he just had to give it that little bit of a lift, and that was enough. Now, side by side, as caution comes out again.
Oh, man. Latham, oh, gosh. Is this retaliation?
Scenario again.
With Latham.
Yeah, this could be something.
Seminario to the inside, Latham to the outside. All seems normal. That's Tanner Marty there just in front. Yeah, that's a thing. We'll go to the top down there.
That might have been a wee bit of retaliation. I don't want to say for sure, because sometimes,
that's a thing. That's a thing.
Again, I won't say for sure, but it don't look good.
It's now we can tell for sure. Now we're in the dark. Did he do that? Why? So he purposely did that where there's no lights, so we can't really see the steering wheel.
Well, the thing is, he did flick it right, but it almost looked like he was loose and trying to save it.
Do I have a turn?
Because before he hit Latham, he turned back to the left, and if he was trying to wreck Latham, I don't know why he would turn back to the left again. Was there a little bit of netcode that made the 56 wiggle there? I mean,
we will solve the mystery here, because this is I know retaliation does not go over well. I just screwed up, but we got enough views at it. The greater end of the spectrum says that was retaliation, but there's always something that could have caused that in a unintentional manner. So, not our call. We just have our thoughts, but we're always open to whatever the possibilities could entail.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like retaliation, but also I'm hesitant to say that with certainty because, like I said, he did turn the wheel to the right, but he turned it back to the left before the contact with Latham, so that kind of tells me maybe the car just wasn't planted. Maybe he was having a little bit of handling issue.
And because the back straightaway doesn't have, for some reason, the way the lighting model is, because the back straightaway doesn't actually have lights on the outside, we couldn't see the steering wheel because it was pitch black in the cockpit, so we could not see him fighting on the wheel as we would any other place on the track. And just for the sake of proving that, was it a glitch? Did he have a light switch in the cockpit that he turned off? See, lights, light. There's still light.
So it would be on the... Oh, there we go.
That is so strange.
That is one of those classic iRacing lighting moments.
What the hell? Where does it come?
Yeah. That's always been a thing with iRacing. Their nighttime lighting has always been a little bit buggy.
Oh my goodness, I have to clip that and send it to some of my buddies afterwards, because that is absolutely hysterical, but...
And they have improved the nighttime lighting a little bit, but it's got a ways to go.
It's the same concept of where one camera angle has it in perfect sunshine and the next camera angle has it completely in the shade. So hashtag soon, but what we know now is, look, Justin, if you want this race, you need a solid restart because you don't have 3 or 4 laps to get wound back up. You got to do it now. And then we got Campbell and Henry on row number 2. You know, Captain Backwards in the number 25. He has the speed to win this race. I don't know if he has the track position, but the recovery is definitely worth noting nonetheless. Pace car is already in. Barney has the flag in hand. Hopefully for the final time tonight he will wave it for a restart. Hopefully the next one we get is the white and then the checkers. But the green flag's in the air. I think a modest start there by Justin, not too far back. Let's see if he can get wound up, and let's see if we can finish this under green.
Yeah, he's actually getting a really good run through this corner. Let's see if he
Couldn't
can
get
make...
off.
Oh, yeah, no, the 14 checked him up a little bit, took his line away.
Oh,
so Levine...
Levron.
Oh, Kendall Levron.
Nope.
Oh, no.
Did we hit the white?
No, so it's going to be green, white,
It's
checker.
going to be close.
Number
That's going to
2.
be close. That's going to be super close.
I think Sherrod was
No,
in
it's
the
not.
lead.
It's no. We're still going back at it. All right, here's the replay. We are getting extended again. Contact there off of Hickson. Now, one thing, I'm going to see if I can figure this out, if iRacing even deduces the information for me. All right, so that the moment of caution here is what I'm looking at. Let me use Kevin Zosiak here as an example. So, green, green, green. All right, so right around here.
Right. A little bit further back.
Right here, does it change? All right, here. Yep, there it is. We weren't there yet.
That close. And definitely the 14 had the lead. He had a car length over Levine. So this will be attempt number 2. We're only going to get one more after this if we need it. And judging by the way things have gone, we might. But I tell you what, if lights do not go off on the pace car this time, we'll throw it to just a quick break and we will be back for the drop the green and green white checker number 2.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, lasers.
And we're back here. Just needed a little bit more water here as this race goes into overtime. The race was originally 250 laps, shortened down to 200, but these guys they really wanted to run 250, so they're maximizing this as much as physically possible. Looks like we're going to get about 212. We'll get 212 out of it one way or another. So if there's a wreck this time by, and we do not get to the white flag, that will be called. Of course, if we get to the white, we race to the checkers, no matter what the circumstances may be. Levine, sorry, I still get it right after 2 years, has the faster car at this moment with the fresher tires. 14 has been getting good enough restarts to get a big enough jump. Can he do it once more? Pace car in for the final time definitively on the evening. Let's settle it from IRP.
14 has gotten a lot of good jumps tonight, and this is going to be no different. He's out and away. Now, Levine is always quick through 1 and 2. He always gets to the bumper, but he can't take that run anywhere. If because the 14 is watching that mirror. He knows exactly where to put that car to block those runs and stall them out. Levine going to go about half a lane higher. The 14 running that middle seam. Here he comes again with another lunge at it. It's going to be...
We're going to get to the
white
checkers.
Flag.
Now we're going to stay on board here. He's going to get to the left rear. He's going to get to the door. We're going to head down the back straightaway, side by side. Race win here at IRP. What's going to happen? Levine dives it on in there. We got some contact. We're beating. We're banging off corner number 4. Are we going to have a drag race to the line? Justin Levine, he's going to get it in a drag race. The 1 gets it at IRP. And he got it clean for the record.
Yeah, he made that move at just the right time. We knew that he had the pace. I mean, he was getting right up to the 14. It was just a matter of making it work and making the car stick, and he did. The 14's got to be a little bit frustrated at all the laps he led at the end, only to just barely lose it there in the last corner. But either way, good night for Hyperforce Esports as they finish 1-2. Take a look at that finish once again. You can see the number 1, no contact made between them. Just a clean battle through the last lap, then through the final corner. I don't know.
A little dork. I mean, you can't complain about that. That's a short track race right there. And then he gave him the lane on corner exit. He didn't pinch him. He left him the opportunity, but just couldn't get off the corner of the 14. Again, solid win there by Levine, and he did it the right way, which I think all of us will can appreciate him for, as he will go ahead and finish his victory celebrations here. But as he does that, let's head up to the booth. We are in the booth. Head up to the blimp. Let's just go down and prepare for the post-race show and give you the final rundown of results here from Lucas Oil Raceway at IRP. Getting that win in thrilling last lap fashion. I'll have to check how many laps he's led. I think it was only 1 here on the evening. I think we'll double check that, but he gets the win over Scherer by 0.08. Philip Henry gets the 3rd, captain backwards. He couldn't quite get the checkers or wreckers, but he got himself back up there for 3rd. We'll get to talk to him too, hopefully, if he's in the radio chat. Ty Ippolito with a 4th, Josh Campbell with a 5th. RJ Root had a lot of issues, gets himself a solid run in his substitution effort here in 6th. Corey Saucier, a good run in 7th. Jake Hickson in 8th, Scott Wise, and then Timothy Latham had a fast car but had those issues, back to 10th.
Outside of the top 10, Tanner Marty is going to finish 2.2 seconds back in 11th. Johan Seminario, with a crazy night, is going to finish 12th place. Adam Glatfelter is going to be 13th. 14 goes to Zodiac after a very strife-filled race. 15th, Kendall Lebron. Dakota Jorgensen, it comes back from his pit road stay to finish 16th. Julian Bird is going to finish 17th. Charles Eaton, P18, Dave Few Jr., P19, and running out the top 20 is Jordan Sailors. We got a few more drivers behind him who didn't finish, and when the Graphix scrolls, they are Seba Corns, we got Edward Kane, and we got David Duke. Again, strong run in Atlanta for David, but not meant to be tonight. He's going to round out shotgun on the field.
Yeah, that is indeed the case here. So we'll get these guys all wound up here, and we'll start here right at the top of the pylon, heading right down to victory lane here, which I think even in a real world is done right here on the front straightaway at IRP. And should be an excited number 1 car. So Justin, it was a chaotic race here at IRP, to say it generically, and a lot of tempers flying, but you managed to get that lead by Ed there, but you did it the clean way. Being your teammate, you'd hope so. But how hard was that to do, and how hard is it to do cleanly at the very end here?
Oh, it was very hard. The last thing I want to do is wreck a teammate. I had to make sure that I was perfect there, because the last thing you want to do is wreck a teammate here. But that was so much fun. Like my heart's racing. That was intense. It was a lot of fun.
I can't blame you, man. When it comes down to that, you just don't want to blow it. When you know you have the tires and you have everything set up, you don't want to blow it, but nerves get to you. But speaking of the tires, 3 sets here with 14 cautions. How did you guys make those decisions on what do we do when there was so few Goodyears on the wall here tonight?
I just try to split everything 50. Every 50 laps or as close to it, that's when I put tires on, and it worked out perfectly. I think about like 160 or so.
Yeah, and it worked out where you had those better tires there on your teammate Ed Scherer there. And just looking forward to next week. Of course, the schedule kind of went a-flopping as some voting and such happened. So instead of heading overseas to Japan, we're just taking a short trek down to Pennsylvania for the Tricky Triangle next week. So a little bit more traditional of a track. Everyone should be prepared and have a setup for it. So how's that #1 fare at the Triangle next week?
It's basically a hometown track for me. It's one of the closer tracks, or it is my closest track, so I consider that my home track. So I always try to be my best there. I always try to get that win. So hopefully we have a fast piece next week and we try to go back to back.
All right, man. Well, I know how the hometown fairing goes. Let's see if you can pull it off. We'll be watching. Congrats on a really exciting win here tonight.
Thank you, Corey.
And now second place, Andre has caught up with Ed Scherer.
Ed Scherer, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Well, good points night for Hyperforce. You're going to bring it home second place, but it was a wild finish and maybe a what could have been scenario as a drag race with your teammate out of turn 4 left you just a little bit short. What was your perspective on the last lap?
Yeah, I was just doing all I could. I was honestly hoping for the caution when we got the white flag, and luckily with that first green light checker, it was before, so I was a little upset about that, but other than that, it was a good night overall. I mean, I came in here with not much confidence. I haven't really turned many laps here. The last time I think I was here was a couple years ago in a truck, so it's, a little new for me to be in a cup car here. So it was a lot of fun, though. I had a great time, and this track is really fun to drive around. I really do enjoy it. But, yeah, congrats to Justin. I just couldn't hold him off there in the end. I was just too tight off of 3, and he had the better run, so it wasn't really going to be much for me to do besides wreck him, and I'm not doing that, so... But again, like I said earlier, just shout out to Team Watson and everybody over there that gave us really great setups for tonight. And yeah, hopefully we come back next week even stronger. Hopefully get another win on the season. But all in all, it was a good night for us boys at Hyperforce. Besides Johan, I feel bad for what happened to him. But all in all, it was a good night, and I'm proud of where we finished.
Yeah, 2 races ago, it was a top 5. Last week, you got a win. This week, you're going to take second on the podium. You are really showing a lot of consistency and a lot of pace. Now we're going to Pocono next week. You going to be able to keep that consistency up? How do you feel about Pocono?
I feel pretty good about Pocono. Usually we build great setups for those kind of, long straightaway, heavy braking kind of tracks. So I just thanks everybody at Hyperforce that gives us great setups each week, even Team Watson. So without them, I mean, it's really hard to compete against some of these guys. These guys are really tough, but I mean, our sponsors give us a lot of support with Don Wheaton and Abruzzi, AC Delco, Custom Paints and Diecasts on Facebook. Just everybody that basically supports us throughout this whole year. I mean, we are a small team up and coming, and we give everybody a run for their money tonight, and hopefully we do it again next week at Pocono.
Absolutely. Well, Ed, thanks for your time. Again, congratulations on a good points night. We'll be seeing you next week.
Yeah, appreciate you boys as always. Thank you.
Is he not the easiest interview ever? Because he literally just does all the work for you.
Yeah, that is pretty much how it works. But now, for what I'm sure will be an interesting interview, the man who drove through the field about 15 times, he's with Corey.
All right, Philip. So I was calling you captain backwards here today as many times as you had a self-spin. You led 50 laps, but it seemed like that car must have been on royal edge because you were either lightning fast or you were having to spin and get yourself back up there, and you very nearly got back to the front. What was that setup like there that made that car so on edge?
Well, I ran my qualifying setup, and that could have been a mistake, but I felt like at these short tracks, I feel like I couldn't usually do it. I won an NIS Martinsville race earlier this year doing it, so I thought I could do it again, and that was no good. But it was a hard-fought battle back up to the front. Got some lucky breaks, but that setup was definitely on edge.
Well, that's literally the easiest way to describe that. You ran a setup that's only meant to run 2 laps, and you had to run 50, 60 laps with it. We know IRP is not an easy track to pass on traditionally. So some guys make that inside lane all the way down on the flat work. What was kind of your strategy? What was your your line of choice, having to pick and choose your way through that field as many times as you did?
I was just going wherever the car in front of me wasn't. After running out in the front for so long, it was a little bit difficult trying to figure out how to pass cars once I got mired all the way in the back after I self-spun on the first time, and then I did it again and did it again, and every single time it felt like it got harder and harder and harder. So I was just trying to go wherever they weren't, and finally I was finally able to make something on entry work to where I could get the car pointed for exit, and that seemed to work a little bit.
Yeah, definitely did for you as you got yourself back through there. Now, obviously a name that we don't see too often, but could we expect to see you in have some good runs in more of these SSRL races on Mondays?
I think so. I've enjoyed the past 2 weeks. Last week wasn't ideal, but I definitely enjoyed tonight's race. It was a lot of fun going from the front to the back and back up to the front. Lots of exciting action all throughout the field from my view. So it was it's definitely fun, and I think I'll be back.
All right. Well, we hope to see so with those runs you had and the moves you were making. We hope we see you in the future. Congrats on a solid run. Definitely a great comeback.
Yes, sir, and thank you.
All right, well, that is a show here, Andre, and again, these guys put on a show of all sorts here. We had some long green flag runs, and then we couldn't manage to find ourselves under green for much time at all, but last lap pass for the win obviously is a good way to end our night.
Yeah, definitely an exciting end. And, you know, sometimes races with a lot of cautions are kind of frustrating for viewers and racers alike. But I think even with the yellow flags we had, that was a really entertaining race. And I had a lot of fun watching it. So big props to the guys in the field putting on a good show. And I had fun.
Yeah, definitely did as well. So, of course, make sure you stay tuned for Friday night when we, as I have to remember off the top of my head, we'll be back for D2 of the 100% Cup Series division at the Pocono Raceway. And then PTRTV will be producing the 100% Cup Series at Pocono, but on the 100% channel. We did just hit 900 subscribers, so that's a great milestone. We're 9/10 of the way there. Just need that last 100 to get ourselves to the milestone 1,000 subs. If you haven't done that, please just tap those few buttons and help us out. But that's Corey and Andre signing out of the booth. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.